Thanks for joining the Dating with Katy podcast. I am back from a little bit of a break. I think just like in dating, sometimes you need a break. You need a breather, and I had a great time with my son's graduation and just kind of enjoying the month of May here in Dallas with some decent weather because I know it's going to get hot and spicy. And today's topic is a little hot and spicy. I just did kind of a thorough search of what is trending in dating right now. And a lot of these topics I've talked about before, but I think even more so, I have a few that are brand new and I want to see what you think. So make sure that you subscribe. Go ahead and hit that button for me. Send this to a friend. We all have a single friend, married, single, whatever. And I have to tell you that my married people love following as well, because I kind of dabble on a lot of relationship advice. So I don't want to just see you, get confident, be successful, and have fun dating. I want to see you in committed relationships where you are thriving, you guys, not just surviving. So please make sure that you are following me on Instagram. Check out all my other 15-minute podcasts. I try to keep them short and sweet and to the point. Although I do end up telling a lot of stories and ramble a bit. I do listen to my podcast back, and I was in the airport last week laughing out loud because I was laughing at myself. So again, make sure you are in my database. I say it every time. I have quite a few clients right now. Ladies, I need your best pictures. I need some great bios on you. And I want to meet you, gentlemen. If you are tired, I had a client go on 5 dates last week. He would never. He said to me, Katy, I said, are you also doing apps right now? Because, hey, sometimes you just got to put all your balls out there, right? And he said, no, Katy, I get 0 on the apps. With you, I get so many dates from women who would never swipe right on me. So guys, if that's you, if you're busy, this guy's so busy. He works in the NFL. He's just busy. Like there's no way he wants to be swiping and chatting. If that is you, get in my database and the work with me. Click the little button that says you want to work specifically with me. You will see, and I will reach out to you. So let's get started. The dating trends for 2024. Now, I don't know if they're really for 2024, but we'll just say that for the title because they could be trending at any point. But the number one I'm going to start with today is buffet dating. Now, you guys know this. It's oftentimes people who are not seriously intentional in dating, and that's okay. Sometimes we're in a season in life, we just got out of something serious. We just got divorced. We're still too young. We don't want to get married yet. And really, those are my two listeners right now. I get the post-divorce people, and then I get the 30-year-olds who want to get married. So I kind of love the dichotomy of that. And I want to encourage both that you can do it well the first time, even the second time, because I am, and I'm loving it. But buffet dating is this idea that you go take and, nibble on what you'd like and try something else out over here. Now, I'm not pro or con on it, but I do see a need sometimes because I do believe that in dating, I always say this, is that you're learning what you do and what you don't want. So get really clear on the things that you are like, nope, that's a pass. I'm not going to put up with that again. Another guy who ghosts me like that, I will not put up with. Another woman who doesn't mirror my efforts, I will not put up with. So it should be helping you get crystal clear on what you want in dating. So hopefully it's not making you fat and bloated and annoyed and frustrated, because that also happens with buffet dating because you're just trying too hard, right? You're trying too many things. You realize, wait a second, why would I even have gone out with that guy? He didn't even have the same value set that I had. So let's be mindful with buffet dating as well. All right, number 2, don't get attached to the outcome. Now, this one I love. And I have this thing that I do with my clients. I always say, how many toes in are you? Kind of like putting your toes in the water. It's a little word picture. If you're just out there dating, you got 1 toe in with somebody. You got 2 toes in on the next couple dates. You should not be putting your whole heart in, right? And ladies, a man who's love bombing you, which I don't always believe in love bombing. Sometimes these are just actually genuine guys who know what they like. But if some man is doing that, you don't need to put all 5, 10 toes in. I just heard from a girlfriend the other day. Her friend got married in 2 months, got divorced 3 months later. And it was her 6th marriage. I can't fathom how this happens still. I don't know what man would want to marry that woman. I was like, is she hot? Like, what did she bring to the table? She was not hot. So I don't know. I have no idea. But you got to not get attached to the outcome, especially if you are going to be casually dating. And even still, if you are intentional and you want to find somebody great, your first 3 dates, you guys, they're just to get to know somebody. My 3-3-3 rule, 3 dates, 3 weeks, 3 months. You should not be 10 toes in with anybody until you got a ring on it and you are married and the day is done, okay? So you've really got to stay casual. Like I always say, water on a duck's back. If this guy or this girl in the first 2 days is just not doing it for you, so what? Let it go. let them go, send the text, be an adult and say, hey, not working for me. Wish you all the best. So, and we see this a lot in the non-attachment part, kind of in the 80%ers. They're just having fun. A lot of guys are getting their wiggles out, but usually in the post-divorce people as well, like they just aren't ready for anything serious again. And sometimes in those younger generations, they're just building their career, building their business, building their kingdom. So that's often where this happens. Number 3, I love this one. And maybe I'm just seeing it because it's on my feed a lot, but I am telling you, men are beginning to own it. They are beginning to understand that they need to put a little bit more work and effort into their EQ, into their manliness, into showing up in marriages and relationships. And I love this book I got at the airport. It's Time Magazine, The Science of Marriage, yada, yada. But in here, it talks about this. It says, experts also recommend that men do more of the emotional labor, the work that goes into sustaining love, which the EQ, right? And this is a quote by the Gottmans, who we love the Gottmans, very, very great podcast to listen to or read, anything they do. So they said, what men do in a relationship is, by a large margin, the crucial factor that separates a great relationship from a failed one. Writes Gottman in the book, The Man's Guide to Women. I need to buy that. You need to buy that. This doesn't mean that a woman doesn't need to do her part, but the data proves that a man's actions are the key variable that determines whether a relationship succeeds or fails. Now, some guys, the 80%ers is what I call them, would be like, that's not on me, that's on her. But I am seeing men rise up. I mean, my husband's in a great group. There's groups like Men on Fire. There's a lot of guys who are on IG that are just cheering this masculine man thing on, and I'm loving it. And women are loving it. So if that is you, buddy, if you are listening to like Man on Fire, for example, he says, you're the captain of the ship. If the ship starts to sink, it's not the co-captain's fault. It is the captain's fault. So if you're a guy who says, that's it, I'm the captain, I take full responsibility, I will learn and grow. Woo! Women are loving it. All right, number 4. And I think this one's great. I heard this, I had a gentleman on the other day about Christian dating, and he said one of his rules is the 2-strike rule. And so I'm going to make this a trend for 2024 because I agreed with him that if someone has not responded back promptly, and I'm talking 24 to 36 hours, that's a strike, right? If they're not quickly helping you make the plan, if a man is pursuing a girl and she's kind of fading out or just ignoring him, that's a strike. So after 2 strikes, they're out. I mean, maybe 3 if you want to be nice, but I love this idea of a 2-strike policy. Let's just be done. If you can't promptly respond to a text, a phone call. Now, I miss phone calls, so I always like text. Please ask the person you are starting to court or interested in, what is your best method of communication? I do that with all my clients. I mean, it's just good business principles that rolls over into relationship principles. Okay, number 5. This is, and I'm so happy for this one because I'm not a big fan of these irrational terminologies. Some like for example, my soulmate. I'm looking for Mr. Perfect. I can't wait till I find the one, Katy. Those are ridiculous. And when you start and keep speaking that kind of thing, manifesting Mr. Perfect, there is no Mr. Perfect. He will not be perfect. And so when your expectation, finding my soulmate, as a matter of fact, also in this magazine, it states that, and I love this. I'm actually going to pop this into my IG. In fact, soulmates tend to be crafted and not found. And I often say to my clients, I had a client who said, Katy, my ex-wife was my soulmate. I said, no, she's not. You're divorced. She obviously is not your soulmate. And if you've been married 50 years to someone, you can say that you found the one. You can say that you found your soulmate because you crafted that. So throw out that terminology and let's get serious about finding your right, not even your right person. Let's throw out that terminology and start saying that I'm going to be looking for my equal. I always love using that term so that you know that this is where you need to be with someone because you're doing a partnership here and it's a merger and you guys have to be equal in a lot of those ways. All right, let's go to number 6, doing the circle back. See, and I'm a huge fan of the circle back. You guys know this. I know so many couples who came back together at their reunions, met again on Facebook. I have a client who actually met his girl Katy on Facebook dating. They went to high school together. They're looking to seriously commit to a marriage soon. So I love a circle back. Why do I love it? Because there is consistency. There's a ground base usually of common interests, common backgrounds. I always say it's the picture frame as well. So your picture frames, like your grandma's picture frames look like his grandma's picture frames. So there's that mutuality that's easy to just kind of blend back into. So I'm a huge fan. I also had a girlfriend recently, and it was a circle back with an X. I do believe you can circle back with an X. Some people say that it creates a cycle. I don't necessarily agree with that. Sometimes you need a minute to go and grow or get some stuff done or whatever it is. I have a girlfriend, great guy. He said something that triggered her one day and she just went off the top. She now confesses to it. And he sees what he did, how it really bothered her. They both kind of matured. And a year later, he circled back. And I said, girl, you better go out with him because I can tell he's a good guy just even by what he's texting you. And recently she was super sick. He would drive 30 minutes to drop off medicine, drive 30 minutes back to his house. I mean, I'm so glad that they circled back. All right, number 7. Now this one's unique. A lot of my clients do this already. Like they will travel to meet a quality person. They'll travel to meet a woman because, as I like to say, if in your city the pond is full of carp and you want a king salmon, well, you're going to have to go to Alaska to get it, right? We all know that eventually you either run out of matches or they're just not quality. And I have been on Bumble and Hinge in so many different cities, and it's true. There are some cities that are like hopeless, okay? So if that's you, I've seen it. It's true. It's like there's nobody in my city, Katy. Well, instead, they call it vision board dating, whatnot, travel dating. You can change your location and you can start to meet people in other cities, maybe a city you'd like to visit or go to or move to eventually, like your vision board. And they're doing that. They're taking a little weekend in New York, a little weekend to Miami and going on some dates. So, hey, I'm all for it. I married a Texan and I lived in California. So if you are open to long distance dating, go listen to my podcast on that. It can work. Eventually, somebody does need to move, but we're going to be talking about a second option to that because if you've got some things settled, you could do other things, and I'll share that in a minute. And number 8 is show your Riz. Your Riz is your charisma. And look, I'm not about dating the charming guy because he's usually charming with everyone. A woman who's sexy is sexy with everyone. Be very mindful of that. If that's a first date person and they're just sexy, overly sexy, or overly charming, yikes, dangerous. But showing your Riz is being a little bit bigger than you normally are, right? And it's kind of important in dating. I like to liken it to flirting. Hello, we have lost the art of flirting, especially you ladies. I just did a podcast on Are You Even Flirtable? And you think you are, but you're not. I mean, I did a poll, and honestly, only 27% of women thought they were good at flirting, and men thought that was even less than that. So ladies, you gotta get your Riz, get your charisma, get your joy, get your energy. Guys, you gotta bring that just as much. So it's going and doing it because what do you have to lose? I can definitely tell you this. I have clients go on first dates with women who are beautiful. Their resume, their bios look amazing. And they go on the first date and these women are flat. I call them flat. They're just flat. Like, I don't know if they're just depending on their looks to get a man to like them, but they are just boring flat. And so sometimes I had to ask a client the other day, I said, what does she do for a living? And he says, oh, she does government contracts. I go, oh, well, that's probably why. She spends 40, 50 hours a week doing government contracts. So you've got to get yourself out of that, right? If you are doing something, you're in finance, sometimes guys are engineers and they got engineer minds, so they don't have a lot of Riz, okay? But you got to bring the Riz. Bring the Riz. Go listen to my flirting podcast. And another good way to start to get good at flirting is learning how to banter. Now, a lot of people are just doing everything via text messages these days, so you really have an opportunity to slow down and think of something funny, something cute, something a little sexy to say, and I think it's really important. So go listen to that podcast as well so that you can kind of flirt on your texting, which is good banter, and then in real life, you can bring that Riz out. All right, number 9, this is what I was talking about a minute ago. An option, if you are dating someone long distance, or even if you're in the same city, a lot of older couples are doing the living apart but together. Now, I understand people have kids, they've got homes, or they're just settled in their way and they don't want anybody in it. So there's some wins to that, right? Like they want the fruit of being in a relationship, but they don't want the stress of having to clean up after you, listen to you snore, They want to have their space and go away. And now my husband and I, we did that for many years. We lived apart, but together, not technically. We traveled back and forth to see each other. So I always had my space. I actually loved it. I went back. I was on full mom duty. And then when I was with him, I didn't have any kid duty. So it was an easy way to really focus on him or focus on my kids, which if you are dating with kids, you might want to really think about that, because the stress on the kids is real, even though they might not say it because they're young or they don't really know how to express it to you. They know that you're choosing somebody else over them. So be very, very mindful of that. And with this, actually, though, there's a little piece that also says, I love you, but not quite enough to fully dive in. So I will say this, that my relationship with my husband got 10 times better when we got married and moved in together. We never lived together before. I didn't believe in that. But there's something about diving into it. Finally, we dove in, and my husband, he just kind of jumped in with tenacity. And there's a difference in our marriage because we both took the serious plunge of doing life together, which I love and I recommend. All right, number 10. This is A++. People are not putting up with ghosting anymore. Thank you, Lord, right? Enough. Call people out. I've never had a problem with calling people out, as you notice on the podcast. But yeah, quickly send a text if you haven't heard from them in a couple days or you never heard from them. Then you say, hey, you could either be cute, oh, are you trapped under something heavy? Because I haven't heard from you. Make them accountable for their behavior. What do you have to lose? This person's probably not going to work out. Maybe, just maybe, there was some dire emergency. Even still, everybody has 30 seconds to send a text. So if you're a ghoster, I hope we find you and we let you know that it's rude. You can also say, hey, look, didn't hear from you, but I just want to let you know that I'm going to pass. Wish you all the best. You know what that's called? Dating like an adult. And you could tell them that, hey, I'm choosing to date like an adult, and communicate with you that obviously this isn't a good fit. You should go listen to Dating with Katy podcasts. I've had people recommend me on dates just because these people that they were dating needed a Dating with Katy podcast. All right. Number 11 is who's done the work more, right? So everyone's getting therapy now. Everyone's reading these books. Everyone's watching on YouTube and Instagram and the therapy, the work. The danger with this is that we're thinking that this person has done the work. Just because someone goes to therapy, just because they've taken a test, just because they know they're an ENFJ, or they are, their two love languages are touch and gifts, and you're the exact same one, this does not mean you choose a person for those reasons, you guys. I have seen people swipe no. Well, that person doesn't have the same love language, or that person didn't say anything about therapy. That person, Katy, their attachment style. Let's just judge people for who they are. Let's not try to become therapists, and let's not try to therapy out everybody or try to be competitive about who's done more therapy. Because I think ultimately all of us will always need work. And I'm telling you, being in a marriage, hubby and I had a little pickle 2 nights ago. We had a pickle, and the pickles happen. And I'm grateful they don't happen often. But I had to look at my deeper reason why. What was my deeper issue? What was coming up for me? He needed to do that as well. I usually do that for him, which I'm working on. But it's going to happen. So quit thinking that you've done more therapy than someone else and you're better. Be very mindful of that. And the last one, number 12, people are getting smarter, and hopefully you are too, at reading the date. I always say read the room, right? I have one podcast left that I have to do on kissing. I mean, I feel like I've covered quite a few things in these podcasts. And everyone's like, do one on kissing. Again, this is the one thing I would probably have to say to that. Well, read the room, right? But how do you read the room? So people are getting much smarter at watching body language, watching eye contact, right? They also, I was watching this woman, she said, it's something called the TED. So stop talking and start listening. And say these 3, this is an acronym, TED, say things like, tell me more, tell me about that. Say, this is the E, explain this to me, explain how this worked for you. Or the D, describe this to me, and hope for a story, something like that. So I think all of these are great. I think we should be applying a lot of these, and I think the dating world might be getting better. But look, guys, I know that it's hard out there. Like I say, you are my 20%ers, because we know that even in that 20%, the funnel is small to find the one that you are looking for, right? You're equal. Well, do me a favor. Make sure you do send this to a friend. Go ahead and give me a like, give me a star, whatever that stuff is. It does help me, and I really want everybody in the dating world to be getting these tips and tricks. So I hope you are getting confident, being successful, and having fun dating. Until next time.